All right, can we have a motion to call the meeting to order?
Motion.
Great, thank you. It is April 13th, 2022. We're beginning the meeting at 6:33 p.m. First up, we're going to do a roll call. Erin Bosworth here. Doug DeCubelis.
Here.
John Pescoa.
Here.
Tim Pimentel.
Here.
Great, thank you. Next up on the agenda is an approval of the meeting minutes from March 16th, 2022. Can I have a motion to approve?
Make that motion.
Can I have a second? Great. Does anybody have any comments in regards to the meeting minutes?
No.
Okay. And do we have to vote?
Yep.
Okay. You want to start, John?
Yeah. So we'll make a motion to accept the minutes from the last meeting.
I think he seconded it.
Yeah. And
Okay.
all.
All right. So yes, all in favor, say aye. Okay. 4 yeas, no nays. All right. Next up on the agenda, we're joined by Nicole Rongo from GCI. Hi, Nicole.
Is she on there, Cody?
She's on.
Okay.
I just unmuted. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, we can hear you.
We got you.
Hello. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for being here. We're just being
Yes.
joined by member Jen Ludwig as well. So it's my understanding, I think you're here to share with us today the Digital Community Showcase.
Yes, it is. And I don't know how much time allotment I have, but I can wrap things up rather quickly here. Is there 5 minutes, 10 minutes? What are we looking at here?
10 minutes, please.
Perfect.
Thank
Perfect.
you.
Yes, we'll get you on with your night. And I'll keep it brief, but essentially what we're proposing is a cost-free program to help the town market and promote itself. It's something we're doing already in Smithfield, Narragansett, North Providence, and over 3,000 communities across the country. We do this through our collaboration with the National League of Cities and the U.S. Conference of Mayors. You do not have to be a current member of those organizations to partake, but our programs are free to the community. And if I have the ability, I can do a screen share and actually show you an example of what it looks like. Would that be ideal?
Yeah, please.
Okay, so I'm going to share my screen. Okay, and let me go to this. All right, so yes, we work in partnership with the USCM, National League of Cities. We've been helping communities to market and promote themselves for over 30 years. Now, one of the reasons for the success of our program is the fact that it is a free service, so great news there. And we'll talk a little bit about how and why that's possible here in a bit. But essentially, whether you're looking to promote tourism, showcase economic development initiatives and incentives, showcase quality of life, welcome future families and residents, we've got a program here to help you do just that. I'm going to click on a brief welcome here because usually they're about a minute to a minute and a half long. This is one of the shorter ones that happens to be 42 seconds, but just to give you an idea of an introductory piece that we're proposing, very similar to what you see here, we would also provide for Coventry.
Hi, I'm Mayor Andy Shore, and I'd like to welcome you to Lansing, Michigan's capital city. Whether you're interested in moving to the area or just here for a visit, you'll find that Lansing is a fun, exciting, and vibrant community. Our city has so much to offer, from exceptional local schools and trusted public safety to the city's wide array of outdoor recreation, arts, and entertainment. Lansing is also a great location for new and expanding businesses. Come experience the area for yourself. Lansing's time is now.
So what you just saw there is an example of a welcome piece that we did for another community. Very similar to that, we would do for you as well. We'd have you choose 5 different topics. So economic development, parks and rec, festivals. You choose the topics, then we write the scripts. We like to say within for you because everything is emailed back and forth for approval. Once we get your thumbs up on the scripts that we've written, you've requested changes, we've gotten your approval, made those edits, that's when we come do the filming. And you'll agree to a time when we come to the community to do so. Once we capture the content, then we do the editing, background music, voiceovers, complete production. And again, you request any changes, and only when we've gotten your stamp of approval, we send you a link that you copy and paste onto your website, onto your social media outlets, onto any website that aids in the promotion of the town as well. You're free to put that link in, even on a local cable access channel, I've seen it. So the goal is to provide you with another way to help tell your story and really showcase and promote what it is that sets Coventry apart, not just from other communities in your state, but others across the country as well. So in doing so, the program is free. And just to explain our business model a little bit, because this is actually the best part, because it also provides an opportunity for local businesses in the community to also get involved in the program. And I'll show you what I mean. I'll go to a completed example that has the video tour live on their website. So once we send you the link, you copy and paste that onto your website, and then that launches the videos. This happens to be a screenshot of Dayton, Ohio. If I click on their video, let's do so, you will see that launches their video tour. I'm just going to mute that. But around the perimeter, you'll notice that there's members of the Dayton business community. And if I click on one of those logos that you see around the perimeter, that actually launches a video that we've done for a local business. And very similar to what we did for the community, we provided that opportunity for one of their businesses here, where we've fully produced a video for them that they garner exposure from, not just here, but also on their official website, their social media outlets. So this becomes a vehicle to help elevate their online presence as well. If the businesses partake, that's on a sponsorship element. And just so I'm clear, that's where our revenue stream comes from. If they get involved, fantastic. If not, and I've been here 17 years, I've yet to see it happen, but there is no minimum requirement. There's no quota or threshold. There's never a point where you would see an invoice regardless of how many businesses or if any businesses partake. We do send that over to you in writing, but that's how our program comes together, how we offset the cost, how we showcase not just the community, but give the businesses an opportunity to do to elevate their online presence as well. And that's kind of a nutshell version of our program. I know I just gave you a lot of information, but I wanted to keep it brief here this evening. Any questions on anything we've talked about?
I have a couple questions. Thank you very much for sharing this information.
Yeah, absolutely.
The first is, like in that first video you shared, how do you identify, I know you said that we would offer the top 5 points. How do you identify the actual content to film? Is that based off the 5 points or?
Yeah, so you choose the topics that are most relevant to you. And we like to say we write the scripts with and for you. So we build off a core sentence. We do our own research on the community. And we also ask if there's any literature, brochures, websites you want to direct us to assist with our content and script writing. We welcome you to do so. And then we lay out the core of the script, and everything is emailed back and forth for approval. So it starts with a topic selection, us building off a core sentence based on research you may provide and research we do as well.
Great, thank you. And then my last question is, you mentioned that you guys are essentially funded or based off the businesses that sponsor, that would result from the town. How much would it cost for a business to sponsor?
Sure, great question. Typically, it's around $1,000 to $6,000. There's various levels in between, depending on what the business is looking for. Do they want a 30-second video, minute-long video? If there's nonprofits in the community, they can partake for free. Around, if you have a community organizations chapter that you want to dedicate even to nonprofits, as Dayton, Ohio did here, nonprofits around that chapter could partake for free. And you can see Rotary, Boys and Girls Club, these types of entities could have a free link and logo that takes you to their website, or say they have video already produced, they could submit that to us and we'll host their video for free. So there's a free option for nonprofits, and then there's a paying option with different levels for the paying businesses.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
I have another question. should a business sign on to do this and they pay, do you include any type of avenues to promote that business, or is it just for the production of the video itself? Does it include any web advertising for those costs or anything like that?
So for the businesses that partake, they get exposure around the perimeter of your video tour. And then we provide them with that video for their website and their social media outlets. So if there's multiple social media outlets, they're free to utilize that in multiple places and use that video for recruitment. We have a lot of businesses, and we know that's a hot button issue, recruitment. We have a lot of businesses using it on their LinkedIn, and even having us interview employees on why it's a great place and a great company to join. So they're free to utilize that content however they wish to promote themselves. We don't necessarily do more advertising for them, but they're free to do that with that content.
And if we have a video produced for the town and nobody else signs on to it, we have the ability to post that anywhere we want and push it anywhere we want. Do you guys do anything with it?
So we may utilize it for demonstration purposes. We play loops on videos at the National League of Cities conference, that type of thing. But besides that, we don't really do anything with that content. It's mostly about providing it to you to do what it is that you would like to do with it.
Hi, Nicole. Thank you for joining us tonight.
Sure.
Can you just give us a little bit of an idea of how next steps work in terms of how you engage with those businesses? So is
Sure.
it something the town has to do? Like we would advertise it ourselves, like come in and talk with Nicole and CGI, or can you just walk us through what that looks like?
Right, great question. Much like you and I did here today, we typically would bring them online, show them where they'd be featured, how they'd be featured. We do that outreach to the businesses. And we often tell cities, you can be as hands-on or as hands-off as you'd like to be during that outreach time. Some communities like to say, these are our largest employers. These are pillars of the community. Can you give them first right of refusal? Absolutely. We don't require that of you, but you do have that option. So we do that outreach to the businesses. I can tell you from experience, it's typically small to medium-sized businesses that tend to partake. We pride ourselves on being Main Street advocates, small business advocates, if you will. Not to say we don't have something for a larger corporation or a hospital or something like that, because we do. But typically it's those small to medium, very community-minded businesses that tend to partake. So we would do that outreach to them, schedule an appointment. We do have an agreement that we send over to communities that says you'll incur no cost and we'll do for you what I just stated. And I'm happy to share that with you. And then also we send over to you a letter template that you're free to reword to your liking. And that letter just simply states it is a collaborative effort. We're CGI helping to produce videos to market and promote the community. Actually, you're free to reword that to your liking. We don't need to approve it or anything like that. And that's something we have on hand when we do that outreach as well, just to help validate the initiative and explain it a little bit further.
Do you have any idea of how many like average businesses you work with? For example, here in Coventry, we're kind of in the middle of the state. So for example, we don't have major capital like Providence, Rhode Island, but we have a number of different residents, kind of a spread out location. So there are many businesses here in Coventry. So is it something that you're looking at and you look at average population size, or I don't know what you look at, but is it something like an average number of businesses per population or something? Like, how do you know how many businesses partake usually?
And when we try and predict that, we're often incorrect, but typically we can get anywhere from 10 to 40 businesses that sign up in a community of your size based on population. So yes, we do look at the population because that's usually indicative of the business count as well. So, but I've seen communities with 10,000 population that have, 25, 30 businesses as well. I just spoke to one of them earlier today. Nair and Gassett, we're updating their videos now as we speak, because we typically do a 3-year program, by the way. And then at the end of that time, we update the content for you, or we shake hands, part as friends, go our separate ways. Either way, no invoice involved. And then we'd update the entire program for you.
What is the average time it takes from start to finish to
Great
produce a video?
question. Typically, it's about 12 to 14 weeks from sign on to completion and videos being live and up and running and on your website. Sometimes if a community signs on in January and they want to wait till June filming, that'll back it up a little bit more. But right now we're scheduling into spring and summer. So we would probably be about that timeline, because it takes some time to do the script writing, topic selection, and get that all laid out before we come out and do the filming. And you'd agree to a time when we come and do the filming. We're not going to just show up or anything like that. I also want to mention, if you have any existing content of a festival or an event that you're known for that we're not there to capture, you can submit that to us and we'll incorporate that into what we do as well.
Hi, Nicole. Thanks again for joining us. My name is Tim. My question, pretty simple. I know you mentioned them at the beginning, and I picked up on Narragansett again. Can you confirm the other 2 Rhode Island communities that you're working with already?
Yeah, and there's more than this actually. And in a follow-up email that I'm happy to share with you, I can put some other examples. Smithfield, I know, and I actually have their, let's see, is this Smithfield? Let me see. Their video tour is live. The other one I mentioned, we're updating their content as we speak. But if I went to Smithfield, let's see. Okay, here's their video tour on the left-hand side here, and you can see the topics that they selected: welcome, quality of life. So just if you wanted to see something a little, closer to home. And then this is a different layout that they have. You can see the sponsors are a little bit bigger, and the player is a little bit bigger. We could provide this layout for you as well. So if you wanted to see a live example in Rhode Island, you could take a look at that.
Excellent. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other questions, comments? No. Okay. Thank you very much for your time. If you can, please share those documents or the details, following, just so we can explore, and we'll get back to you with next steps.
I will. Who should I send that over to?
Does she have your email? Do you know who?
I
Ben?
have Ben Marchant's name here,
Yes.
and I have his email.
Yeah, that would be perfect.
That would be perfect. I will send that over. How about this? I'll send that over first thing in the morning.
Excellent.
All righty. We'll let you get on with your meeting. Thank you for including me tonight.
Thank you so much. Have a good night.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
You guys want to talk about that? What do you think? It's kind of a, yeah, it's kind of a no-brainer.
So, again, can't argue with the price. And I think this is kind of what from the beginning, it's a good place to start. And we're talking about the website. We're talking about making these improvements. We have an opportunity to up our game. I think it's great.
So about the website, that is something that we're looking at in the budget for this year. So if the budget passes, we would have the funding to go out and get the new website. So for example, we would know about that in late May is the budget vote. So the timeline that Nicole was talking about was September-ish. So that could be something that we take a look at. Like one of the things that we mentioned, like she was saying, oh, if you have a festival or you have like a highlight, maybe one of the highlights is we have a new town website. We have, come see the videos, come meet the people in the community, things like that. So that, I think you're right. That flows right
Yeah.
on time. Yeah.
Even without the new website, I'm just saying, this is, technology, that's how you reach people. And we've talked about upping our game. We have almost something handed to us, in my opinion. So Yeah, I mean, great to have both, even without social media, to have it out there.
I agree, Tim. The video production costs are so expensive, and for them to hand that to you, it's almost too good to be true. And I like that they make their revenue based off of businesses in the community, and I'm sure a lot of them will probably jump on board with that because they want that exposure, especially if it's tied with us. I think it'd be a great addition for us for sure. And I mean, it's not something so much has to be on the new website. Even if we hold on to the old one for a little while longer, the video's ours. We could put it up next year on the new website, or even this year on the old one, whatever we want to do. And they update the content every 3 years too. So if we were delayed a little bit, we would get an update anyway.
Yeah, and the
great.
prices, I mean, again, because we know our town, and there's a lot of small businesses. I mean, the lower end is actually reasonable. I think you'd agree. I mean, $1,000 to have even a 30-second. I mean, that's pretty reasonable.
That's very reasonable.
And again, you own the content. They're going to just give it to you, and you can put it up on your the company's social media, their website. I mean, I think it might be attractive, and it's something that we're bringing to our businesses. So this is what we're supposed to be doing.
I love the idea that they help support the outreach to the businesses too, because I feel like they can probably hit a lot more than what we would be able to do.
Yeah, I picked up on that too. We can be as involved or not
Mhm.
on
Right.
that part. So yeah, let them do the work.
Yep. Yeah, that's great.
I'm not outwardly seeing a downside.
That's what I'm saying. That's why I said I'm like it's almost too good to be true, but
Even with the gift card program, I felt the same way. There's no negative to doing it. Can't hurt us in any way.
I mean, if we wanted to, we could do reference and call either Narragansett or Smithfield and just say, hey,
It's a good idea.
do we see that you have this on there? Like, has it been beneficial? Has there been any? Did
Good
you
idea.
stumble upon anything that too good to be true category?
yeah.
Just to say we checked.
That's a great idea.
So Erin, would you be able to maybe coordinate between you and Craig and contact, I don't know, someone from Smithfield or someone from Narragansett? I think those were the two.
I
North
don't
Providence
think
as well.
Providence.
Oh,
Yeah, that was one I wasn't sure about. Okay.
Yep.
Smithfield, Narragansett, and North Providence. Yep.
It might have more weight if you say, who you are, when you're calling, or get some honest feedback.
Hmm.
Yeah.
And then we do have some contacts, I think, through our clerk's office, so Joanna Matrano, if it's not obvious when you're looking on the website. So she may be able to point us to the right people at the town halls at those locations. So let me know if you have any issue.
Okay.
figuring out who to talk to.
Perfect. Okay.
That's great.
I think it'd also be
I
helpful.
don't know why not every town's doing it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think we should also take a look at the, she had a draft contract or something for us to look at. Didn't she say?
Yes.
Sometimes what we just at least
Yeah.
through what's on paper.
Okay.
Sounded good. Sounded great.
Yeah.
So maybe whatever she sends to Ben, we could check in with him. He should be back from vacation next week. And we'll get a copy and review that and figure out where to move forward.
Certainly, the town's legal counsel too, obviously should even just take a quick look at it, making sure there's nothing in there.
We'll probably have that done before the next meeting.
Because I'm not a lawyer, but I've read more than one contract in my day. But I'd rather defer to the expert. But I think we could do both. If we could do both, it'd be great. No hidden issues.
Right. Yeah, like if you don't post it within 2 months, we get charged or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
If we were to go forward with this, would we be tasked with having to identify all those pieces that need to be video and where is that something?
I mean, it'd probably be our area.
Well, so I think what I understood is we'd pick the top 5 topics to address or cover, but then they would research and figure out what some of the best highlights of the town are. And based off that, that's where they do some of the filming. I'm sure we can offer advice too.
I'm
Yeah, I was
sure
gonna
Ben
say,
will weigh in.
we know some of the locations
Yeah.
that we would say, this is, a beautiful spot, like get something over Johnson's Pond or something, or,
Mhm.
just I'm sure we can provide some of those highlights to say
Yeah.
these are some areas that we would want to focus on.
Right.
Yeah.
I like the idea of us doing like top 5 because the welcome idea sounds great. I don't know of anything we have in town that says like welcome.
I agree.
So it'd
That was,
be
I
nice to
picked up
have
on
like
that right away, actually.
Yeah.
to have like a nice welcome to Coventry type of feel. Like I like that topic. And once we get through kind of the background checks here, then maybe we can all talk about the other top 5 or whatever. Maybe we can have that as a follow-up point to come with those suggestions for our next meeting.
Okay.
I like it. Action item.
Contact.
Are they planning on contacting the local businesses for us, or are we going to have to, that's their end of it. They're going to do it.
Yeah, it sounds like that they were going to do that. That's that revenue source. So they'll probably be pretty on top of that since that's how they make their money. So I would imagine they wouldn't want to leave it up to anybody else. They'd want to offer that service. Yeah.
We could probably have, if we decide to move forward, obviously, we could probably have the town put something out as well. Facebook notice, something on the website to say, this is a group we're partnering with. They'll be contacting you, those types of things. Also, from a counselor position, I've been meeting with a number of different businesses in my district, and I know some of the other counselors have as well. So we can post the counselors to help with some of that outreach.
Great.
I wouldn't want them to just cold call and then our businesses be like, who is this?
Yeah, agreed.
How do we get like, we did the gift card thing and now the video, I guess. How is that coming to us? Are we able, I guess what I'm trying to figure out is how do we help to either facilitate more of these discussions, or like, are they going directly to Ben? Is Ben reaching out? Is it just networking? Like, how do we help to get some of these items on the agendas or know about these things?
Google.
I know.
Is it just, yeah,
I looked up what other economic development commissions are doing, and I started dabbling into those things because it's really, if you can think of it, it's a creative position is really what it is. It's just been about being creative. And there's a lot of creative ideas out there. I need to spend more time reading about it, but I think that's really where we got to start, is just looking at what other people are doing. You don't have to reinvent the wheel. It's already been invented,
companies like this, I mean, I'm assuming where they've done Smithfield, Narragansett, maybe they came to us, right? Versus maybe the gift card one was something that we found. And if so, how? How do we explore that?
Right.
Do we want to take that as maybe an individual action item to look for one item to bring to the table? It doesn't have to be a Rhode Island thing. Maybe just do a little Googling and Facebook searching, and maybe we'll each bring one idea that we found in another community. It can be national, doesn't have to be Rhode Island.
Okay. Anything else in this topic?
Nope. I'm good.
I'm good.
Okay. We can move on to agenda item number 6, which is the town website and EDC survey.
I only printed a few of
I have-
these.
I
Oh,
have
you
one.
have one?
Yep.
And that one, so I could pick this one. Okay, so a couple months ago, when we were first getting started, we said we wanted to find ways to help local businesses. And maybe one of those ways was through possible ordinance changes or things that were tripping people up. And we tried to, as a group here, come up with some of those ideas. And frankly, I felt a little bit stuck. I didn't even really know where to get started. And so I'm wondering if we can put some sort of survey out to the local businesses, basically asking, either what your experience was, or was there a particular part of the ordinance that tripped you up? Because I think we need to actually kind of open the door to the conversation with these groups and find out where some of the problems are if we're going to attempt to solve something. So I don't know if everyone saw the ARPA survey that went out a few months ago for the COVID funds. Basically on the town website, on the very top, there was a listing to the link. And then also basically you could go in and there was a page on the website that said, hey, this is what ARPA funds are. Cody was instrumental in getting that out. There was a survey that Ben and the group put together that asked a number of questions that were, ABC, free format text. Basically, anyone could go in and fill it out. And so I just put a little mock-up of what something like that could look like. So a little mention like on the EDC website, hey, this is the kind of information we're looking for, and here's a link. And then I put together 9-question survey. It doesn't have to be 9. I just mocked up a few questions. We can figure out what it looks like. But basically helping us figure out kind of who we're talking to. So business owner, et cetera. What type of services they're using from the town. So websites, what type of information they're trying to look for. They can type in themselves. Have you gone through the town's licensing program or zoning committees? Have any of the town ordinances limited your ideas? And then there's a couple items in here that we may or may not want to put in, but they're eye openers, to be honest. So are you aware of the current local tax incentive programs for businesses in town, like at the center of New England? Like they may or may not know that. But there are certain tax incentives in town. What do you consider the 2 biggest assets for businesses in Coventry? I thought this was a good question, but we don't necessarily have to use these answers. So my A, B, C, and D are up for debate, but I thought that would be helpful for us as we move forward as a group. Another question. Lower commercial intangible taxes. That's number D, 6D, as compared to neighboring Rhode Island communities. Admittedly, this is a planted question, but people may not realize when you look at the commercial intangible rates in town versus a lot of the communities around us, it's actually more attractive to do business here. And maybe they didn't know that. Maybe that's information they can share after they have the survey. Just, food for thought on a question we possibly could ask. 2 biggest challenges for businesses. Would you recommend Coventry as a good place to start a business? Why or why not? And then would you be interested in joining us? So I just want to introduce the concept of the survey. We could put it out through some social media means. I think we could also work with, for example, a local radio station to say we'd love for local business owners to take this. A few of us on the council can help push this to some of the businesses we speak with. I don't think this is a serious, need a code red.
No, I agree. You can't cry wolf with that thing like that. Oh,
I don't think we need a code red.
no.
So we did with the ARPA survey, but technically we're not supposed to use code red for that sort of thing. There's some gray area that we negotiated in, but
okay.
I prefer that to happen.
Yeah. So this is not an urgent item. I wanted to put forward now so that we can start figuring out, what questions would we want on there, anything else, and then we'd need to talk with Ben and likely Cody about getting the survey uploaded and the results. Maybe time to some. This is just a mock-up, but I did want to see if it's something that the group might be interested in putting out.
I think
how would we be reaching all the businesses with this survey? It sounds like an online survey.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
how do we have contact information to reach out to them or a database to connect with them yet?
No.
So this gets, what I was getting at is even with the previous project is trying to reestablish for the town. It doesn't have to be a Kent County one, but a Coventry Chamber of Commerce. So there's one contact person for the community of businesses so that we can fish all that out to them and let them disseminate it out to all the local businesses or member of a Chamber of Commerce. And I think part of what we could do, and I was going to wait on this, I don't know if it was new business or not, but I think it kind of ties into this point and the previous about trying to help us to reestablish a new chamber within the community to help anchor in the businesses together so that we can have a faster way of reaching out to all the businesses at once through whether they're president or whoever's their person.
Do you think that could be one of the survey questions itself? Are you interested in the town of Coventry or the EDC taking on a similar role to a Chamber of Commerce, something like that, and then creating a local directory, something?
Yeah, and right, or register for at least something to bring all those businesses under an easier way to access them, at least. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I feel like we're continuing to hit the same people, right? It's the same people who are on social media that are getting some of these things. How do we address all the people that aren't seeing it?
Do you want to maybe figure out how we would put some of that into here and bring some suggested questions for next time?
Sure. And
then maybe we can also bring some ideas for how we would get this out into the community. So I'll give you one example, and it's completely manual, but what was it called? The Rhode Island Rebounds program, like 2 months ago, where they were offering at the state level, they were offering grants for small businesses that made under something like under 5 million and whatever. And literally in my district, I went down the main roads and just started looking at Google and started reaching out to every business that I could in the time. I had a certain amount of hours, 3 days before, and reached out to every business, started doing those relationships. But that's an example of, okay, but now I have contacts for those businesses. They have my council page, et cetera. So we may be able to split it up a little bit that way for us to reach out and possibly start a directory of some kind.
So that was actually, I reviewed and just made some comments, but that was one of the things where I think we should probably maybe the very last question, just a suggestion is, we ask them optional, please provide your contact information for either a direct response, to the information you provided or for future communications. And then that way we have that contact information. And then it can go into a database that's held internally or whatever.
Do we have the capability, or is that going to be like an investment to have a secure database to store this information?
I don't see contact information as needing to be secure. Maybe we can check with Cody on that. If someone gives the town their email address for future contacts, do we have to keep that?
That's not publicly identified information, so we have to require for security, or we certainly could secure database that.
Right. And I'm saying business name, proprietor, phone number, email. Just basic.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to figure out, we
But
could Google
I know
that
your
stuff,
concern.
right?
Oh, yeah.
So I'm just trying to understand going to the business to ask for it or trying to do that. While I think we need a directory of some sort, I'm just trying to understand what the difference is.
So it's very easy to build a form online. There's many programs to do so. I do it often with my businesses. Just you can build a form asking for that stuff and put a disclaimer on the bottom that, you will receive emails from the town of Coventry for, XYZ purposes. And then you use a platform. I use something called Constant Contact, and Constant Contact actually sends off the stuff in mass email, because all of our servers, and Cody will probably be able to back me up on this. If we sent off 1,000 emails to coventryri.com, server
Or
would kick us and it would spam us saying that
It's
we're
flagged as spam.
right. So we would use something like Constant Contact, which does have an annual fee, but that we can send out. There are days where I send out 200,000 emails and you could just do it with a click of a button. So that would be the way we do it.
It's an interesting idea, almost like something on the website where a business owner could say, click here if you'd like future communications.
Sign me up.
Exactly.
It's an opt-in.
Yeah.
Exactly. Right. Exactly. I mean, and we probably use something similar when people sign up for Code Red, I would imagine, because people registered for Code Red. So it would probably be the same type of information gathering platform that we use to do that.
But for purpose of the survey, I guess the only reason I said, and I should have been more clear. So being in my line of work, I do surveys, we use SurveyMonkey, I respond to it. So there's nothing worse than having somebody provide, really constructive feedback, good or bad. And then you don't have the opportunity to get back to them and say, you know what, thank you. This is an issue. We're working on it, or we're going to work on it, or, what I'm saying? So, because that's what's going to change the perception, right? Which is part of the thing that we've all talked about. I mean, there's some people, have a perception that it's not a great place to do business, and we want to change that.
Mhm.
And I think, being able to respond to constructive criticism, or, the website's terrible or whatever, you know what? We don't disagree, but we're working on it and we're going to make it better. And we hear you. So that's the only reason I brought up in this term, but bigger picture, we use Constant Contact, we use SurveyMonkey, we have all those tools.
Mhm.
I'm pretty familiar with them as well. So, but these, again, these are, I thought these were really, really great. I also thought maybe we could ask them how long they've either been a resident. I mean, it's good to know, is this someone who's brand new versus someone who's been here for 30 years? Again, just so you can kind of feel the tone of where they're coming from, right? Everything else I thought was great. This was educational for me, so good job. I was like, wow, that's great.
It's a planted one, admittedly, but maybe it will, for people who aren't business owners, maybe they're a resident, they may learn something along the way as they look through. So would it be okay if, so I think, Ben, did you get a copy of this, soft copy of this?
I don't remember seeing it.
Yes.
I didn't see it, but he
That's how I
printed it.
printed
So
Okay,
It
so.
might have been sent from Joe. Was it Joanne? I'll look.
So we can refer to the soft copy, but do we think for the next meeting, people could come back with any additional questions or anything else they'd like to see? And then we can figure out, maybe Ben should be back by then, and we can talk with him and Cody about a timeline for getting something up on the website.
show off.
We always have to ask them. So,
Yeah, Ben sent it on Thursday.
I noticed you have, I think I told you about those 2 email addresses
Yes,
that I've seen you. So maybe it went to the other one. I can forward you a copy if you want.
I have it if it came from Joanne. I think I looked at just the agenda and didn't realize the survey was there.
There was a whole bunch of, there's been a lot of emails in the last
Yeah.
few days, so I just happened to catch it because I missed a whole bunch of other ones leading up to this, and I was like, oh, wait.
I think I looked at it in the first email in the agenda when it was just that, but then when she replied with,
There was a final
Yeah.
agenda. Yeah,
I didn't look
that's
at
what I'm saying. I got kind of crossed up too. I just happened to catch this one.
So anything on the survey or on the, like the intro, if people could bring back their suggestions for next time, and then we'll kind of, stamp off on that and hand it over for them to get up.
Okay.
Good. Beautiful.
all right.
Let's put that together.
Next up is agenda item number 7, which is the 2022-2023 budget request from the EDC.
So I asked for this one to be on there too. So we're right in the middle of the budget process. The budget that was handed to me, which is a line by line budget that the manager suggests to the council, that was done a week ago. They're still going through some iterations between the finance manager and the different department heads, and also on the school side. And so we don't actually vote on what budget goes to the voters for several more weeks. So what I thought I would do is just lay out those expectations. Nothing set in stone yet, but on the line by line item that I did receive last week from Ben, and I requested for EDC funds to be on there, and he had listed $10,000 in the EDC line item for us. That doesn't mean it's going to stay there, but it is there now, and I will keep fighting for that. But just to lay the expectation that this is not the end of the negotiations on what's going to happen. So I believe it's May 2nd is the date that we actually, as a council, vote on which budget goes to the ballot. So several more weeks of this. But one thing I would say, if people feel passionate about us being able to do an event in the coming year, it would probably be helpful for you to express that interest of keeping that line item on the budget, in an email or phone call, or just a message to the other counselors, and to Ben and to the finance manager, who is Director Mills, because it's helpful when you see something on there like, yes, that's great, we need to keep that, versus we tend to get a lot of complaints like, take this off and take that off. So I will do my best to try and keep something on there.
Yeah, absolutely. I've been a big proponent of having some type of community event, whether it's actually the real town fireworks on Tioga Lake, for Labor Day or something like that, something to bring people together and give businesses a place to showcase what they do in Coventry,
I have asked for separate funding in addition to the 10K for this.
Okay.
So
I was gonna say, we should probably be really united on what that's meant for, right? So I don't want it to be perceived as just a, 10, hey, here's $10,000 and go figure out what
I
you're
think
gonna
we
do.
outlined that at the meeting.
Yeah,
Okay, so I apologize, I missed the meeting.
we requested of the town council the $10,000 specifically for the family-friendly initiatives,
Okay.
which was either story walk or
So
some
we
type
stuck
of.
with in January, it was January, we reviewed that as a group. So sorry, I guess I missed.
So that was,
Canceled and I couldn't make last.
Yeah,
that was,
I can't fight for an item that we don't know what it goes for.
No, I just wanted to make sure that we,
it was for that,
whatever was decided about, I'm fine with.
just to clarify, and the credit card communications. So,
Perfect.
So separately, and I know I'm not the only counselor, but to your point, John, about having a community event, we're asking for those items to be separate from EDC. It's not, it's not $100,000 request. They're small items, but I agree. I would love to see community fireworks or some big event. So
Yeah, and I've talked with other businesses too in the community, and they have an appetite for sponsoring part of it and having their name out there, buying tents and sponsoring part of the fireworks show, if it's on Tioga Lake and whatnot. So, and I think that would go a long way with our residents, and it would also bring people to Coventry that think that Coventry is an hour and a half away from Providence. They would actually see where we are. So that's a
Rhode Island.
yeah, right. It's still far away no matter what. Yeah, exactly.
But we're not over the bridge.
Not over the bridge.
We have that going for us.
That's right.
wait, what do you mean the bridge?
So in Rhode Island, like if you have to go to Newport, that's off. That's
Over the
too
bridge.
far.
Over the bridge.
Okay.
You have to pack a lunch.
Okay.
Bring
That
a
bridge.
cooler.
Yeah.
I've been here too long. So.
Bring a cooler.
okay. Anything else on budget? Everybody's going to email saying
Keep
we
your
want to
fingers
keep that.
crossed.
Okay.
Fingers and toes crossed.
Okay. That brings us to agenda item number 8, which was the RFP for a marketing review that we had brought up in the last town council meeting.
Yeah, I brought this one out too.
Yes, you did. That's why I keep.
I'm
putting it down.
sorry.
This whole agenda was yours.
I know. I'm like, I want to talk about all these things. We gotta get a move on things. So it costs nothing to go out to RFP.
Right.
So what I thought we could do is, I know that the town manager and none of the groups are kind of, very deep into the budget talks right now and those sorts of items. So this isn't like top priority for them. But maybe in the background, what we could do is, could we maybe research a few places in the New England area, just to find, some marketing firms that have maybe put out materials for either communities or, marketing you may have seen them do for the state. The state has put out a ton of programs, especially with like the grant fundings and the like Rhode Island Rebounds. Like they've done a number of things. So if we could find some ideas on what we think, ultimately something for us might look like, or just something to put into the RFP so that when Ben writes it up, he has some, deliverables in there. Like, what are the best parts about Coventry? Could you do X, Y, Z? Here's an example from another company that he just knows how to write it. So maybe we can kind of help along that way.
Yeah, we need to identify scope. We talked about that. Yeah. So
Yeah.
the scope of what we would want.
And actually,
Like we talked about a
Before
SWOT
we-
analysis.
before we get to scope though, I think not all of us totally saw the vision for exactly what it would look like.
Okay.
It's almost like a brainstorming session on what have some other groups done, and then we can get to that scope.
Okay.
And then maybe we can also talk with Ben when he's back about, what would be a reasonable timeline for us to shoot for, so that we do the brainstorming and the scope, and then we ask for him to get that out, in August or September, or I don't know the date, but we probably need a date to shoot for, so that usually what happens over the summer is we try not to have any meetings for the groups like this or commissions in August, just because a lot of people are not even here. So if we want to do something in September, we need to get on the ball now, because we're really only going to have less than 3 meetings before August.
Yeah.
So we can ask about timeline when Ben is back.
Anything else on that? Next item is public comment.
Do we have any guests?
Are you sure? Was it Nicole? Oh. All right. So that is it. Can I have a motion to conclude today's session?
I'll
Can I-
second.
Great. Meeting is closed at 7:25 PM.
Thanks.
Thank you.